Your question on the Council on American Islamic Relations, I think, is very well taken, because it's the same kind of thing. Of course, they are the leading spokesman for the Islamic community, whether or not the Islamic community wishes that to be the case or not. They are the leading spokesman in the United States for the Muslims, such that whenever, essentially, there is an AP or a Reuters story about some incident involving Muslims in the U.S., they'll quote a CAIR spokesman. And they are universally, in these stories, identified as the nation's largest Muslim civil rights organization, which is their own definition of themselves. They are described as a moderate Muslim group that, of course, had access to government and law enforcement to a tremendous, an impressive degree, such that they were even given a tour at Chicago's O'Hare Airport a few years back of security procedures to make sure that they would find them acceptable and not offensive to Muslim sensibilities. The real story of the Council on American Islamic Relations is very different. As I think many of you here know, the Council on American Islamic Relations was founded in 1994 by Nihad Awad and Omar Ahmed, who had come from the Islamic Association for Palestine. The Islamic Association for Palestine has since been shut down for funding Hamas. And it is noteworthy that it was named in the Muslim Brotherhood Memorandum that I mentioned in the talk, the remarks I made earlier. The Muslim Brotherhood Memorandum recommending that the Brotherhood be laboring to eliminate and destroy Western civilization from within and sabotage its miserable house. One of the allied organizations listed by the Brotherhood in that document was the Islamic Association for Palestine, from which CAIR comes. Of course, then it must be the possibility must be allowed in fairness that Awad and Ahmed left the IAP and formed CAIR because they were more moderate. But that impression has been mitigated by CAIR's record rather decisively. Not only have there been several CAIR officials arrested and convicted for various jihad terror-related activities, but also Omar Ahmed himself, who was for many years the chairman of the board of CAIR, as well as its co-founder. He was speaking to a Muslim-only audience in 1998 in California, and he said this. He said, Islam is not in the United States to coexist with other religions. Islam is in the United States to become dominant, and the Quran the only law of the land. Now, this was quoted by a reporter, a non-Muslim reporter, who he didn't know was in the room. When this statement started to get publicity, actually several years later, when it was picked up by Daniel Pipes and others and began to be quoted, Ahmed denied saying it, but the original reporter was contacted and she stands by the story. It is a statement that is consistent with statements by Ibrahim Hooper of CAIR about wanting to see the United States government be Islamic sometime in the future, which is a much larger statement in its implications than just saying we want to see a Muslim president. We want to see the government become Islamic means he wants to institute Sharia provisions. So this is anything but a moderate organization if one understands by moderate the idea that you have a Muslim who accepts the parameters of American constitutional rule, constitutional law. And so the Council on American Islamic Relations is a quintessential example of a stealth jihadist group that is trying to advance Sharia in the United States, but which, to all appearances, is completely innocuous and moderate.